Hey guys, this is Dash from Bloom Where You're Planted, and today I am planting some flowers. I'm planting Mexican sunflower, I'm planting cosmos, northern light zinnias, these big zinnias, more zinnias, because I want the flower border in front of my front yard garden to look amazing. In the heat of the summer, when my garden maybe isn't looking so good, these are going to be on the front row, so nobody's going to notice that things are turning brown, dying. So this week I am planting New Hope, and I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to summer and the blooms that are going to come out of this. But last week was a whole different week. I can pretty much sum it up in just one sentence. I paid my taxes. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one. So if you need to just take you're flashing back, if you're having some flashback to that moment when you saw that number, then just take a breath with me. Just deep breath in, let it out. It's gonna be okay. So last week I just had a day where I had to take a time out and listen to my fight songs, and I cried a little bit. Okay, I cried a lot, but yeah, sometimes me and my husband feel like in this financial stress that we're drowning and we just can't get a breath. It can be overwhelming, and then the fear comes. And a friend of mine told me something about fear that I really like. It's an acronym, FEAR, false expectations appearing real. And you know, don't those false expectations or outcomes just take a trail of their own? Like, I start thinking, this is never going to end. What am I doing? I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. Somebody has to stop doing YouTube, and I have to stop doing YouTube and vlogging, and I have to go out and get a real job and put the kids in public school because this ship is sinking and fast. So those fears, those false expectations appearing real can just take over your mind and take you down a road that your Father never meant for you to be on. It is a slimy pit, and it's hard to get out of once you're down there, right? So I was starting to lose hope, and I talked to my fisherman. He is my oldest boy, and we call him the fisherman. We nickname him the fisherman because he does have an uncanny ability to stand there patiently at a young age and fish and fish and fish. He loves it. But we also call him the fisherman because he's a fisher of men. He's a disciple of Christ. He's a Christ follower. And he has this amazing gift of bringing people back to the Father when they've strayed or when they can't see the Father. He's gifted with that ability. I think he's going to do great things for his Father in heaven. So I was talking to him, and he said, well, Mom, didn't God ask you to do this? And I said, yes. Some of you that don't know my story, it all started with a prayer. Everything I'm doing now started with a prayer to my Father. And that prayer was, please, Father, help me feed my family good, wholesome food. And we cannot afford to do that. So I thought that my Father in heaven would just increase my husband's salary. And that would be great because nothing would have to change, right? We could just buy the food we needed and everyone would be healthy. But that's not the way my Father decided to go about it, because he has great plans for me. So he said, let's grow this. And I thought, well, how is that going to happen? I have no idea how to grow any food. We will starve. And he said, I'll send you help. And I was like, okay. And then I said, I have another problem. My whole backyard is shady, and I've tried to grow back there before, and it's not happening, let me tell you right now. And he said, but what about that field across the street? There's plenty of room there. So we have a church across the street from us. So I walked over there. I was being faithful to my father. I walked over there and I said, well, what have you ever thought about starting a community garden over here? And they said, oh yeah, we have a group that's actually getting together to start one right now. Would you like to be a part of it? I looked up and said, yes, I would. So me and a handful of amazing people started Creekside Community Garden. And that was my classroom. That's where I learned to grow food. And I mean, the pastor there was amazing. He was an amazing gardener. So there in the garden, there were people of all walks of life and all different countries, and they taught me how to grow some food. And then the father said, this was about 10 years ago, so then the father said, let's bring this a little closer to home. I thought, what? How am I going to do that? The only place I have that has sun is my front yard. And I just felt him smile and say, yeah, I know. And I said, what? Because trust me, folks, I am not a stick out of the neighborhood front yard garden type of person. I am kind of like, don't notice me. I want to be like everyone else. Moving on. So, and I didn't have any money to start a front yard garden. And my city has strict ordinances against putting up a fence in your front yard. So all these things were stacked against me. Well, I'm here to tell you that every single obstacle my father knocked down before me. And we started that front yard garden, and it was amazing. And then we really grew some food. And then my father said, let's share this. And I said, sure. Who do you want me to share my food with? And he said, no, that's not quite what I mean. Have you ever heard of a thing called the internet? I was like, oh. He said, let's not give people fish. Let's teach them how to fish. And I said, okay, well, what? That's not really going to work because I've never done a blog before or written for anyone. And I have no idea how to do that. And I'm really, really bad with computers. So I said, that's not ever going to work. Well, God sent me the help I needed, and you know who you are, just when I needed it. So we started a blog, and it was painful, and there were some tears, there were some late nights, but I found out that I love to write, and I love sharing with people on my blog. And then my father said, let's show this. And I said, oh, I think I already am. And he said, no. No, have you ever heard of a thing called YouTube? I was like, oh, well, that's hilarious because I don't have a wonderful video personality. I've never done a video before. I'm kind of shy. I just don't think that would work out, first of all. And second of all, I don't have money for camera equipment. And I just have this little outdated iPhone. And and third, people are not going to want to see me garden. And so now we have a YouTube channel, and my daughter films for me. Thank you, Princess. And she plays piano for the music. And we're sharing our adventure with everyone. And since then, different people have hopped on board. March of Wildcraft of the Grow Network. I've written for the Urban Garden. He has this adventure planned for me that I could never have thought up for myself. And that's one way that you know that it's something your father asked you to do, because it's something that you react with, well, how's that gonna happen? I know I'm not enough to make that happen. So that's kind of our story. So on that day last week, the fisherman asked me, well, didn't your father ask you to do this? And I said, yeah, he did. He clearly did. And he has been with me. But I was like, if he had asked me to do this, wouldn't he bless it? I mean, wouldn't I be financially, this ship is going down. So he said, well, Mom, what if they had given up the 5th time around Jericho? And that made me think, yeah, God asked them to do something crazy around that city, to march around that city, and with trumpets blowing. Not amass an army, not lay siege to the city, but to march around it with their horns blowing, praising God. So, yeah, that must have seemed really crazy to them. And we know that after, we read this story, and we know that after 7 days, the walls fell. But they didn't know. They didn't know how many days they were going to be marching around that city. So, he's right. I can't give up, and you can't give up marching around Jericho on the 5th time. So, now I wake up, and I think, I'm going to march around Jericho today. And then I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to march around Jericho again, because my Father told me to do this. And then although I think it's nuts sometimes and I'm not getting anywhere, He is behind it. And so I will be marching. So, and then I went to my computer, you guys, and there were just so many encouraging comments from you guys. So I thank you. You know who you are. Thank you so much for the encouragement. And it was just when I needed it, just that day. And there was even someone who wrote a comment that sounded like it was straight from my Father. It said some positive things, very nice. You know, they liked my my personality, my upbeat attitude, and they liked the information they were getting. But then they said, don't stop. Keep going. Don't stop at the end of the comment. Who does that? That's my Father. So I just sat back and I copy and pasted the comment. I put it on my computer. Don't stop. Don't stop marching around Jericho. So, yeah. So they kind of turned my week around, and then we got 600 subscribers this week. So I thank you guys. I thank you guys so much. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and it is not a train coming. So for those of you that don't know anything about YouTube videos or channels, before you can get that advertisement in front of your channel, before you can start getting paid at all, you're doing it for free, and you need 1,000 subscribers and you need a lot of watch hours, so you need both. But the first step is 1,000 subscribers. So, and then you can sign up to get those advertisements on the front of your video and to actually get paid for what you do. So that's what it means to me. We're more than halfway there. So I really thank you. My family thanks you. So I want to encourage you. If God has asked you to do something, and maybe it's like me, it's not a big something. Maybe He's asked you to be a firm, loving, and consistent parent. Maybe He's asked you to start counseling so you can heal. Maybe He's asked you to keep on your recovery program to fight an addiction. I don't know what He's asked you to do, but just remember that if He's asked you to do it, no matter how strange it seems to you, or you worry that you're not enough, or you don't have enough, or the strength, or the determination, just keep walking around Jericho and wake up in the morning and say, today, I'm going to walk around Jericho. And eventually, I think we're going to look back and it's all going to make sense. All right, so I'm going to get to planting these seeds. Thank you guys. Bye.